Before we begin, this is a fictional audio drama created for entertainment purposes. Elias Ward, you're listening to the Residual Relay, overnight civic signal, low-power FM, serving the greater Holloway Basin and outlying districts through until morning. I'm Elias Ward. It is currently 2:17 in the morning, and this is the start of Hour 3. For those just joining us, and I know there are a few of you, the switchboard shows 4 new connections in the last 20 minutes. Welcome tonight's programming has been fairly standard. We ran the regional infrastructure summary at midnight. Water table readings from the Saddlebrook Aquifer came in clean. The Continuity Office posted no active advisories as of their 2300 update. Roads are open. The coastal packet from Port Ellison was filed on time. I have coffee. It's not good coffee, but it's coffee. The next scheduled content block is the Agricultural Futures Summary at 02:45, followed by the overnight shipping lane status from the Meridian Observatory Network at 0300. Between now and then, we hold the channel. For those of you who are up because you want to be hello. For those of you who are up because something won't let you sleep, I understand. The signal is here. It will remain here. I want to note, for the log, the barometric reading from our rooftop unit is showing 1013.4 hectopascals. That's unremarkable. Wind from the west. Southwest at 6 knots. Cloud ceiling is high, probably 8,000 feet, though I'm estimating from the window. Stars are visible in the upper quarter of the sky. A calm night. A still night. I have a personal habit, and returning listeners will know this of reading the seismic digest when it comes through. It's usually the least interesting document we receive. Magnitudes below 2.0 across the regional plate. Microtremor counts within seasonal averages. The Meridian Observatory Network files these every 6 hours, and I read them because they are, in a word, boring. And boring is good. Boring means the ground is doing what the ground does. The 0200 digest was due 7 minutes ago. It has not arrived. I want to be clear, that is not unusual. The network routes through 3 relay points between their central processing office and our receiver. Any one of those can introduce a delay of up to 20 minutes. I have seen the digest arrive 40 minutes late on nights when the Fenwick relay is running maintenance cycles. So, we wait. I'll note it in the log and continue. Let me read a few of the overnight items while we hold. The Port Ellison Harbormaster reports no unusual current activity in the outer channel. Tidal measurements at Grey Hollow Point came in at expected values for the lunar cycle. We're 3 days past a spring tide, so readings are declining normally. The Dunmere Flats Weather Station logged a temperature inversion at 400 meters, which may produce ground fog after sunrise. Standard. All standard. I'm going to check the digest queue again. Nothing yet. It is now 2:29. The seismic digest remains outstanding. I've logged the delay at 12 minutes and counting, which is within tolerance, but approaching the upper boundary of what I'd call routine. In the interim, I want to note something that came through on the low-priority wire, the General Correspondence Channel, not the Advisory Channel. This is the channel where stations share non-urgent information, weather curiosities, equipment readings that seem off, that sort of thing. At 0214, the relay station at Carmouth, that's a coastal installation that maintains a tidal monitoring suite, posted an informal query. I'll read it directly. Carmouth relay to all stations on general correspondence. Our seafloor pressure transducer is returning readings inconsistent with expected tidal range. We are showing a progressive decrease in water column height above the sensor of approximately 4 meters over the last 90 minutes. This does not correspond to tidal tables, requesting any coastal station to confirm or deny similar readings. Likely instrument fault. Carmouth out. 4 meters. Let me translate that into plain language. They have a sensor sitting on the ocean floor that measures how much water is above it by detecting pressure. That sensor is telling them the ocean above it has gotten 4 meters shallower in 90 minutes. As if the water is receding, or as if the seafloor beneath it is rising. Now, the most likely explanation, and the one Carmouth themselves suggest, is instrument fault. These transducers drift. Biofouling on the sensor housing can produce phantom readings. A 4-meter drift over 90 minutes is large for an equipment error, but it's not impossible. What I notice, and I'm noting this purely as a matter of record, is the timing. We have a missing seismic digest and an anomalous seafloor pressure reading arriving within the same 15-minute window. These are probably unrelated. The digest delay is almost certainly a relay routing issue. The Carmouth reading is almost certainly equipment. Probably. I want to check something. The Meridian Observatory Network maintains, yes, they maintain a real-time bathymetric reference for the Central Ocean Basin, updated hourly. The last update I have in the file is from 0100. At that time, all depth soundings across the monitored grid were within normal parameters. The 0200 update would have been included with the seismic digest, which has not arrived. I'm going to do something I don't normally do during a broadcast, which is place a direct call to the network's overnight coordination desk. This is, I want to be clear, this is not because I believe something is wrong. This is because I have 2 coincidental data gaps, and my job during the overnight hours is to maintain informational continuity. That's all this is. No answer. That's unusual. The overnight coordination desk is staffed continuously. Let me try the secondary line. That's a trunk busy signal. The line is active, but saturated. Too many calls in queue. All right. At 2:34 in the morning, the Meridian Observatory Network's coordination desk is either unstaffed, which would be a first in my experience, or is receiving more calls than its switchboard can process. At 2:34 in the morning. I'm going to note this in the operational log and continue monitoring. If the digest arrives in the next few minutes, this will all be a footnote. If it doesn't, hold on. This is not the digest. This is from Carmouth again. Same general correspondence channel, timestamped 0231. Carmouth relay urgent follow-up. Our reading is now confirmed by Port Ellison Harbor transducer independently. Water column deficit above sensors now exceeds 9 meters. Rate is not decreasing. This is not an instrument fault. Repeat, this is not an instrument fault. Requesting immediate advisory channel response from Meridian Observatory Network or Continuity Office. Carmouth standing by. 9 meters. I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. 2 independent seafloor sensors, separated by Carmouth and Port Ellison, are roughly 40 kilometers apart along the coast, and both showing the same thing. The water above them is getting shallower, not by a small amount. By 9 meters. In what, 2 hours? That's not a tidal anomaly. Tides don't move 9 meters in 2 hours anywhere in this region. That's not a storm surge in reverse because there's no storm. I can think of 2 explanations. Either the water is leaving draining laterally, moving away from the coast, or the seafloor is rising. And if the seafloor were rising, you would expect seismic activity. And the seismic digest has not arrived, and the observatory's phones are saturated. I'm going to stay calm because that's my job. But I'm going to ask any station monitoring this channel if you have coastal instrumentation, seafloor transducers, tidal gauges, anything measuring water depth or seabed position. Please check your readings and report to the General Correspondence Channel immediately. We continue. Elias Ward. It is 2:41. In the last 7 minutes, I have received correspondence from 5 additional monitoring stations. I'm going to read them in the order they arrived. Dunmere Flats, Coastal Station. confirming anomalous pressure transducer readings. Water column deficit 14 meters and increasing. No corresponding tidal or meteorological cause identified. Weathering point naval installation. Our deep water array is showing progressive shoaling across all monitored grid points in the central basin. Average depth reduction of 22 meters from baseline. This is basin-wide. Repeat, basin-wide. Pale River, oceanographic post. Seafloor displacement confirmed via acoustic depth sounding. The bottom is rising. Rate approximately 1 meter per 6 minutes at our monitoring coordinates. No seismic signature detected. Repeat, no seismic signature. I'm going to pause there. No seismic signature. The seafloor is rising confirmed now by acoustic sounding, not just pressure inference, and there is no seismic activity. The ground is moving, and the ground is not shaking. That is, I don't have a framework for that. Geology doesn't do that. Rock doesn't move without breaking. Crust doesn't rise without earthquakes. Continuing. Camston Ridge, deep ocean relay. Bathymetric readings in the central ridge zone are showing depth decreases exceeding 50 meters. The ridge itself appears to be the locus of maximum displacement. Unable to confirm rate readings are changing faster than our update cycle. And the fifth, from Harcastle Long Range Array, we are detecting infrasound consistent with large-scale mass displacement in the Central Ocean Basin. Frequency is below 1 Hz. Amplitude is... The message cuts off there. That's all that printed. So, let me organize what we have, because this is moving quickly, and I want to make sure we're all working from the same picture. Multiple independent stations, spread across hundreds of kilometers of coastline, are confirming that the ocean floor in the central basin is rising. The rate varies by location, but appears fastest along what Camston Ridge calls the Central Ridge Zone, which, for those not familiar with the regional bathymetry, is the major undersea mountain range running roughly north-south through the center of the ocean basin. A submerged range, the highest peaks of which are normally at a depth of approximately 2,000 meters below the surface. The displacement is happening without seismic activity. The infrasound detection suggests massive physical movement, but the seismographs are silent. At 0243, the Continuity Office Advisory channel activated. Here it is. Continuity Office Advisory 3012, issued 0243. Classification pending. All monitoring stations in sectors 1 through 15 are directed to maintain continuous bathymetric observation and report at 15-minute intervals to the Meridian Observatory Network Coordination Center. A subsurface geological displacement event is in progress in the Central Ocean Basin. Magnitude and scope are under assessment. No public advisory is issued at this time. Internal distribution only. End advisory. I noticed 3 things about this advisory. First, they call it a subsurface geological displacement event. That's new terminology. I've been reading Continuity Office advisories for 6 years, and I've never seen that phrase before. Second, they direct reporting to the Meridian Observatory Network Coordination Center, the same center whose phones are saturated and which has not issued its scheduled digest. And third, they say nothing about the rate. They say nothing about the absence of seismic signature. They say nothing about what is causing a geological feature to rise without breaking. The advisory tells us something is happening. It does not tell us what, why, or how fast. I will. Based on the reports I've read in the last 10 minutes, if Pale River's rate of 1 meter per 6 minutes is representative, and if this has been ongoing for approximately 2 hours, that would suggest a total displacement at the ridge axis of approximately 20 meters. But Camston Ridge reported 50 meters of depth decrease already, which means either the rate is not constant, it's accelerating, or it started earlier than we detected, or both. I want to hear from Dana. Dana Cross is our field correspondent currently stationed at the Grey Hollow Coastal Monitoring Post. Dana, are you receiving? Dana Cross. Elias, I'm here. I've been listening. I can confirm Grey Hollow's instruments are showing the same thing. Depth above our reference points is decreasing steadily. I've been watching the tide gauge on the harbor wall. The water has visibly receded in the last hour, I'd estimate. And this is visual, not instrumental. The waterline is 3 to 4 meters below where it should be for this time of night. Elias Ward, you can see it. Dana Cross, I can see it. The harbor pilings that are normally submerged are exposed. The boats in the mooring basin are sitting lower relative to the dock. It's Elias. It's like a very slow, very steady tide going out. Except it's been going out for over an hour, and it's not stopping. Elias Ward, is there any sound? Any vibration? Dana Cross, nothing. That's what's no. There's nothing. It's completely silent. The water is just leaving. Gently. Quietly. Like someone is draining a bathtub very slowly from underneath. Elias Ward, stay on the line. Keep observing. Report anything that changes. Dana Cross, understood. Elias Ward, we have a listener message. This came in on the telephone line 4 minutes ago, from Marcus Ellerby, Saddlebrook District. I work the night shift at the Saddlebrook Fish Processing Plant on the waterfront. I came outside for a cigarette at about 2:15, and I noticed the channel markers looked wrong. They were too tall. Took me a while to figure out why. The water is lower. It's been getting lower the whole time I've been watching. I can see the base of marker 7, which I've never seen before in 5 years working here. I don't know what this means, but I thought someone should know. Marcus, we know. Thank you. Stay away from the waterline. Elias Ward, it is now 3:02 in the morning. Let me summarize what has developed in the last 20 minutes, because the situation has expanded beyond what any single report can capture, and I need to be organized about this. The Meridian Observatory Network has still not issued its scheduled seismic digest. It is now over an hour late. Their coordination desk remains unreachable by telephone. However, individual monitoring stations within the network are reporting independently, which tells me the network is operational, albeit its central coordination function is overwhelmed. Here is what those stations, combined with coastal installations and our own field correspondent, have established. The Central Ocean Ridge, the submerged mountain range bisecting the ocean basin, approximately 800 kilometers offshore, is physically rising. It is doing so without producing detectable seismic waves. The rate of rise appears to be accelerating. The most recent estimate from Weathering Point, received 6 minutes ago, places the total vertical displacement at the ridge axis at approximately 140 meters from baseline depth. 140 meters in approximately 3 hours. The effect is causing water displacement outward from the ridge axis in all directions, manifesting as steady coastal water recession on our side, and based on a single report from Aldrich Point's transatlantic relay contact, on the opposite continental shelf as well. I want to give you, everyone listening, something specific to do. If you are near the coast and you can safely observe tidal conditions, I want to know what you see. Not instruments, your eyes. How far has the water dropped from where you'd expect it? Are the pilings exposed? Can you see seafloor that's normally submerged? How fast is it changing? If you are inland, I want you to check something else. Your water. Your well, your tap, your basement. If anything seems different, level, pressure, taste, temperature. Note it and report it. Geological displacement on this scale, even if it's confined to the ocean basin, could produce hydrological effects far inland through aquifer compression or expansion. The number is on the channel. You know how to reach us. I also want to note something about the institutional response, or rather, the shape of its absence. The Continuity Office issued advisory 3:01, 19 ago. Since then, nothing. No update, no revised classification, no public advisory. They classified it as pending and directed reporting to a coordination center that cannot answer its phones. The National Emergency Broadcast System has not activated. The Civil Maritime Warning System has not activated. The Aviation Authority has not issued a notice to airmen regarding changed ocean surface conditions. The Geological Survey, the parallel institution to the Meridian Observatory Network that handles land-based monitoring, has not issued a statement. The local stations know. The observatory knows. The Continuity Office knows. But the larger systems, the ones designed to act on knowledge, are silent. I don't know if that's because they're assessing, or because they don't believe what they're seeing, or because they don't have a protocol for what is happening. I genuinely do not know, but I notice it, and I want you to notice it too. Dana, are you still with us? Dana Cross. I'm here. Elias, the water has dropped another meter since we last spoke. I can see there's a sand shelf below the harbor that I've never seen before. It's exposed now. It shouldn't be. I don't think anyone has seen this in living memory. Elias Ward, what does it look like? Dana Cross, it looks wrong. It looks like looking at something private, like seeing the underside of something that was never meant to be seen. There are things attached to the pilings below the normal waterline. Growths, barnacles, I suppose, but they're much larger than I expected, and the color of the sand is different, darker. It smells. It's a deep smell. Old. Elias Ward, stay well back from the edge, Dana. Donna Cross, I'm on the upper observation deck, 20 meters above the current waterline. But Elias, if this continues at this rate, in another hour or two the harbor will be empty. I'll be looking at bare seafloor. Elias Ward, understood. Continue observing. Report at 15-minute intervals or immediately if conditions change rapidly. Another listener message, this one from Helen Tate, Hargrove Ridge. My husband went to bed at 11, and I've been up reading. About an hour ago, our house started making sounds. Not creaking, it's an old house. It always creaks. This is different. It sounds like the foundation is settling, except it's been doing it continuously for 40 minutes. Like the house is slowly being put down onto something that wasn't there before. Our basement has a sump pump that runs during wet weather. It just turned on. It hasn't rained in a week. Helen, thank you. Keep monitoring your basement. If water continues to rise, move essential items to upper floors as a precaution. I want to note that. Hargrove Ridge is 50 kilometers inland, 50 kilometers from the coast, and the groundwater table is shifting. This isn't just an ocean event. The wire machine is printing again. This is from the Meridian Observatory Network. Not the digest. This is a standalone bulletin. Timestamped 0308. Meridian Observatory Network. Emergency Bulletin 01. The Central Ocean Ridge is undergoing sustained vertical displacement. Current measured displacement at the ridge axis exceeds 200 meters from baseline depth. Rate of displacement is not constant and has increased by a factor of approximately 3 in the last 90 minutes. At the current rate, the ridge summit will reach depths associated with shallow water classification within the next 4 to 6 hours. No mechanism identified. No seismic precursor or concurrent activity detected. This event has no precedent in the observational record. All stations maintain continuous monitoring. Network coordination is relocating to Auxiliary Processing Center. Further bulletins to follow. 200 meters. When I started this broadcast, the ridge was sitting at approximately 2,000 meters below the surface. That was an hour ago. It's now at 1,800 meters, rising at an accelerating rate. They say 4 to 6 hours to shallow water depths. Shallow water means ocean surface. They're telling me this thing could breach the surface by morning. A mountain range the length of the ocean basin. Surfacing. In one night. I need to let me take a breath. Let me take a breath. And then we continue. We continue. Elias Ward, 322. I have new reports, and they're moving away from the ocean. The phenomenon is producing effects that are no longer confined to the marine environment. Let me go through these. First, the Saddlebrook Aquifer Monitoring Station reports a 40% increase in hydrostatic pressure across all test wells in the last hour. The water table is rising, not gradually measurably, hour over hour. Basements in low-lying areas of the Saddlebrook district are reporting water ingress through foundation joints. Second, Dunmere Flats. Observatory reports that their long baseline seismometer, which has not detected conventional seismic waves throughout this event, is registering a continuous low-frequency signal they describe as tonal rather than impulsive. Not an earthquake, a tone. A single sustained vibration at 0.07 Hz, below human hearing but within instrumental range. They say it resembles the natural resonant frequency of, and I'm quoting their message here, a large solid body being displaced against gravitational resistance. The ridge is heavy. It's moving upward. Something is holding a note while it lifts. Third, multiple reports from inland areas of a phenomenon that I don't fully understand. I'll describe it as reported. Residents in the Holloway Basin, the Weathering Uplands, and as far inland as the Campston Plateau are reporting that compasses are behaving erratically. Not spinning, deflecting, pointing several degrees east of expected magnetic north, then slowly rotating back, then deflecting again. Cyclically. One report says every 4 minutes. Another says every 6. I don't have enough data to know if the cycle is consistent. Magnetic disturbance, rising seafloor, groundwater pressure, infrasound tone, and still no seismic signature, no earthquakes, no tremors. The ground is not shaking. The ground is doing something else. I have a message from a listener. Ruth Kavanaugh, Fenwick Basin. I woke up 20 minutes ago because my bed felt wrong. That's the only way I can describe it. Like it was tilted by 1 degree. Everything in my house looks level, well, but nothing feels level. I put a marble on the kitchen floor, and it rolled south, very slowly. I moved it back, and it rolled south again. My house is not on a slope. Ruth, thank you. I want everyone to hear that. Not the marble specifically, but what it means. The geometry of the ground may be changing so subtly that instruments and eyes can't detect it, but bodies can. The inner ear knows. The marble knows. If your house feels wrong tonight, if something feels tilted that shouldn't be, if your sense of balance is slightly off, if the water in a glass doesn't look quite centered, that's not you. That's not anxiety. That may be a real physical microgradient in the surface that your instruments aren't sensitive enough to detect, but your body is. Dana Cross. I'm here. Elias. I can see the harbor floor now. Completely exposed. There's God. There are ships down there, old ones, or pieces of them, ribs, keels, things that have been on the bottom for I don't know how long. The water is still going. It's moving out faster now. I can see the retreat. It's visible, like watching a very slow wave pull back. The sand is dark and wet, and there are things in it, shapes I can't identify from this height. Elias Ward. Dana. How far has the water receded from the normal high tide line? Dana Cross. I'd estimate maybe 200 meters. Maybe more. The harbor channel is nearly empty. There are fish. Stranded. Flopping. I can hear them from up here, Elias. There are a lot of them. I didn't want to say this because I wasn't sure, but I can feel it too. What that listener said. The tilt. I'm standing on a concrete observation deck, and it feels like I'm standing on a deck that's listing 1 degree to the south. My inner ear is it's subtle, but it's there. I had to put my hand on the railing. Elias Ward. Noted. Stay at elevation. Stay well back from any edge. And Dana, keep talking. I want to hear your voice on this channel. Dana Cross. I'm not going anywhere. Elias Ward. At 3:29, the Continuity Office issued a second advisory. Let me read it. Continuity Office Advisory 3013, issued at 03/29/29. Classification: Category 5. Geological anomaly active. All coastal populations in sectors 3 through 11 are advised to move to elevations above 50 meters as a precautionary measure. This is not a tsunami warning. Repeat, this is not a tsunami warning. Coastal water recession is expected to continue. Movement to elevation is precautionary against potential rapid water return. The Meridian Observatory Network reports current ridge displacement exceeding 350 meters from baseline. Further advisories to follow. 350 meters. It was 220 minutes ago. That's 150 meters in 20 minutes. The rate has more than doubled since the network's bulletin. Let me say what this means in plain language. The highest point of the Central Ocean Ridge was normally about 2,000 meters below the surface. It is now, if 350 meters of rise is correct, approximately 1,650 meters below the surface. And the rate at which it's rising is accelerating. At the current rate, and I want to emphasize this could change in either direction, but at the current rate, the ridge could be at the surface within 3 to 4 hours. Before sunrise, I'm going to keep reporting. Elias Ward, 3:41. You are listening to the residual relay. This is a fictional broadcast. 3:41 in the morning. I have 3 documents that arrived within 2 minutes of each other, and I want to read all of them, because, taken together, they represent a shift in how the institutions are talking about this. The first is from the Meridian Observatory Network. Emergency Bulletin 03. Central Ridge vertical displacement now exceeds 580 meters from baseline. Rate of displacement has not stabilized and continues to accelerate. Revised estimate. Ridge summit will reach surface interface within 90 to 120 minutes at current trajectory. The term displacement is retired from this bulletin series. The ridge is not being displaced. Observatory analysis indicates the ridge is undergoing active lithospheric generation. New material is being produced at the ridge axis from below, forcing existing structure upward. This is not movement. This is growth. Growth. They've changed the word. It's not moving, it's growing. New rock is being created at the base and pushing everything above it upward, like a nail being driven up from beneath, except the nail is made of new earth that didn't exist 3 hours ago. The second document, Continuity Office Advisory 3014. Classification upgraded, Category 5, Geological Anomaly, Active Generation Event. Public Advisory. All coastal populations move to minimum elevation of 100 meters. Maritime activity in the Central Basin is prohibited until further notice. All vessels are directed to the nearest port immediately. Aviation Advisory. Flight levels below 15,000 feet over the Central Basin are restricted, effective immediately pending surface condition reassessment. Active Generation Event. They've invented a name. When the institutions invent new terminology in real time, that means they've searched their entire vocabulary and found nothing that fits. They're building language because the old language implies this has happened before, and it hasn't. The third document is short. It's from the Geological Survey, the land-based institution that has been silent until now. Geological Survey Notice Priority. All land-based tiltmeter and gravimeter stations report progressive anomalous readings consistent with redistribution of subsurface mass on a continental plate scale. Gravitational field measurements across all monitored sectors show deviation from predicted values. The mass being generated beneath the central ridge is producing a measurable gravitational signature, detectable at continental distances. Estimated new mass generated on the order of 10 to the 15th kilograms. This figure is provisional and increasing. I want to make sure everyone heard that. The new rock being created beneath the ocean, the material that is pushing the ridge upward, has sufficient mass that it is altering gravity. You could, in theory, detect this with a sufficiently sensitive scale. Things near the coast may weigh differently than they did 4 hours ago, by an infinitesimal amount, but measurably. Something is making rock. Something is making it fast. Something is making enough of it to bend gravity. And no one, not the observatory, not the survey, not the continuity office. No one is saying what something is. Because they don't know. There was a word I almost used just then, and I stopped myself. I was going to say impossible, but that doesn't mean anything tonight. Impossible is a word that means outside our model, and our model wasn't built for tonight. Listener message. Jerome Hatch, Port Ellison waterfront. I've been a fisherman for 31 years. I know what the ocean looks like. I'm standing on the breakwater right now, and I'm looking at something I can't explain. The water is still going out, but past the point where the water ends past the exposed seabed, I can see something on the horizon, a dark line, low, like land, where there shouldn't be land. I don't know how far away it is. Maybe it's a trick of the light, but it looks solid. It looks like something is coming up out there. Jerome, can you describe the line? Height, width? Is it continuous or broken into sections? I can't reach him. He left the message and disconnected. But if what he's seeing is real, and if it's the ridge, 580 meters of rise from a baseline depth of 2,000, that still puts it 1,400 meters below the surface at its highest point. It shouldn't be visible. It shouldn't be. Unless it's risen more than the last bulletin indicated. Unless the bulletins are already behind the event. Dana, can you see anything on the horizon? Dana Cross. I've been looking. It's dark, Elias. I can see the harbor floor extending out, a long way out. Wet sand, then darker material. But the horizon, there's something. I thought it was cloud cover sitting very low over the water. But there's no water where I'm looking anymore. And the shape isn't. It's too regular for clouds. It's too straight. It has edges. Elias Ward, stay where you are. Keep watching. Tell me if it changes. Elias Ward, it's 3:58, nearly 4 in the morning. I need to report something that I don't have an explanation for, and I'm going to be straightforward about that. In the last 15 minutes, I've received reports from 6 different locations describing what's happening. 4 of them agree. 2 of them don't. And the disagreement isn't about interpretation, it's about what is physically occurring. The 4 consistent reports describe what we've been hearing: continued water recession, continued rise, the dark line on the horizon growing taller and more defined. These are from Grey Hollow, Carmouth, Port Ellison, and Weathering Point. They all describe the same timeline, the same rate, the same visual. The 2 inconsistent reports are from Camston Ridge and Pale River. Both claim the water recession has stopped. Both claim their instruments show the rise has plateaued. Camston Ridge reports their most recent readings show no change in depth for 11 minutes. Pale River reports a decrease in rise rate to near 0 over the same period. That would be good news if it were universal. But it's not. Grey Hollow is still showing active recession. Dana can still see the waterline retreating. I do not know how to reconcile this. The ocean is one body of water. If the ridge is rising, it's rising for everyone. You can't have a geological event that is happening for some observers and not for others based on their location, unless the geometry of this thing is more complex than a simple uniform rise. Unless different sections of the ridge are doing different things at different rates, or unless time is not passing at the same rate everywhere. I don't mean that. Let me retract that. I don't have evidence for that. What I have is inconsistent observational data, and the most likely explanation is variable rates along the ridge axis. Different segments moving at different speeds. Some pausing while others accelerate. Except Campston Ridge and Pale River both report that their clocks, their station clocks, calibrated to the national time signal, are showing 0402. My clock is showing 3:58. That's a 4-minute discrepancy. The national time signal doesn't drift by 4 minutes. It doesn't drift by 1 second in a year. I'm going to continue reporting what I can verify from this position. My instruments, my clock, my correspondence channel, my field correspondent. What other stations are telling me, I will relay. But I am noting for the record that not all reports are consistent, and I do not currently have a framework for determining which is correct. Dana, what time do you have? Dana Cross. My watch says 3:57. Elias Ward, 1 minute behind me, with intolerance. All right? We're still synchronized. You and I are still in the same. We're fine. Dana Cross. Elias. The line on the horizon. It's taller now. I think I can see texture on it. It's not smooth. It looks like ridges. Like rock. Rough. Dark rock. It's catching there's no moon tonight, but it's catching something. I don't know what light source. It's very faintly luminous. The rock itself. Very faint. Like a deep red. Almost not there. Elias Ward. Luminous. Dana Cross. Barely. If you weren't staring at it in complete darkness, you wouldn't notice. But I've been staring at it for 15 minutes and yes, it's producing light. Very faintly. Deep red. Almost infrared. Like heat glow. Elias Ward. New rock. Produced from below. It would be if it's newly generated material. It could still be carrying thermal energy from depth. Cooling magma glows. That might be the first thing tonight that makes conventional sense. Dana Cross. It doesn't feel like sense, Elias. It feels like watching something be born. Elias Ward. The observatory just issued Bulletin 04. Ridge displacement now exceeds 847 meters. Rate exceeding 50 meters per hour and accelerating. Shallow water threshold imminent at multiple points along the ridge axis. Surface breach anticipated within 30 to 60 minutes. Acoustic monitoring detects sustained harmonic at 0.07 Hz, now accompanied by secondary harmonics at 0.14 and 0.21 Hz. Pattern is consistent with resonant vibration of a structure undergoing continuous forced growth. All vessels in the Central Basin are uncontactable. 14 maritime transponders have ceased transmission in the last hour, 847 meters. It has risen 847 meters in approximately 5 hours. A mountain range that has been submerged since before humans existed is about to break the surface of the ocean. In the time between dinner and breakfast, the geography of this planet is being rewritten. I'm looking at the map on the wall. The ridge runs for thousands of kilometers, north to south. If all of it, if any significant portion of it breaches the surface, we're not talking about an island. We're talking about a continent. Something is making a continent. Tonight, while we watch. Elias Ward, 412. I need to be transparent about something. My information is becoming less complete. The channels are not all responding. In the last 10 minutes, I have lost contact with the following stations. Harcastle Long Range Array. No response on any frequency. Aldrich Point last transmission was their 4 o'clock check-in. Nothing since. Camston Ridge. Their last message was the time discrepancy report. Nothing further. All 3 of these are the most distant stations from my position. The nearest stations, Carmouth, Fenwick Relay, Saddlebrook, are still responsive. Grey Hollow, where Dana is, still has a clean relay to me. The pattern is the farther away, the quieter, the nearest, still clear. Things at a distance are going silent first. I don't know if this is equipment failure. I don't know if it's propagation interference from the infrasound. A low-frequency vibration of sufficient power could theoretically disrupt radio propagation. I don't know if it's something else. What I know is that my picture of the event is narrowing. An hour ago, I was receiving reports from 12 stations across 8 sectors. Now I'm receiving from 5 stations, all within my immediate region. Everything beyond approximately 200 kilometers has gone quiet. The wire machine is still receiving from the continuity office and the observatory. Those route through hardline, not radio. But field stations, coastal posts, relay installations at distance, silence. That was the carrier just fluctuated. Probably nothing. Propagation flutter. Listener message. This one came in on the telephone. Voice, 12 minutes ago. I'm going to play it from memory, because the recording was. The quality was poor. The caller identified themselves as David Morin, Weathering Uplands. I'm calling because I can't reach anyone else. I've tried 3 stations. Your line was the only one that rang. I want to report that I'm inland. I'm 60 kilometers from the coast. I cannot see the ocean from here, but I can hear something. It started about 20 minutes ago. It's not loud. It's low. It's below sound, almost more felt than heard. And it's rhythmic, like breathing, like something very large, breathing very slowly. My wife is asleep, and she hasn't woken, but my dog won't stop whining. I can feel it in my chest, in my teeth. I don't know what it is. I just want someone to know. David, thank you. What you're hearing is likely the infrasound that Dunmere Flats detected instrumentally, the 0.07 Hz fundamental and its harmonics. At sufficient amplitude, those frequencies are felt physically rather than heard audibly. Chest resonance, dental resonance. It's the ridge. You're feeling the ridge grow. Dana Cross. Elias Ward. Go ahead. Donna Cross. I can see it clearly now. The ridge. It's above the water. The highest points are above the water. I can see black rock. Wet, steaming against the sky. It's still far away, maybe 50, 60 kilometers out. But it's there. It's above the ocean. The ocean is parting around it, flowing off it like water off a surfacing whale, except the whale is the size of Elias Ward. Dana? Dana Cross. The size of everything I can see. It goes left and right to both horizons. It's not an island, Elias. It's a wall of rock rising out of the sea, and it's still going. It's still rising. I can see it moving if I watch for 10 seconds. The top is getting taller. The glow it's brighter now. Not red anymore. Orange. The rock at the top is orange. Elias Ward. Dana, I need you to describe this as precisely as you can. Height estimate. Rate of visible rise. Any structural features. Dana Cross. Height. God, I don't know. Maybe from the waterline to the peak. What I can see, maybe 100 meters. Maybe more? I'm so bad at estimating distance over water. But it's tall enough to have a shape. It's jagged. Peaks and valleys, not smooth. It looks like a mountain range. Because that's what it is. That's what's happening. We're watching a mountain range surface from the bottom of the ocean. There's something else. The sound. I can hear it now. Not just feel it. It's like a single note played on an organ the size of the world. One note, constant, getting louder, very slowly getting louder. Elias Ward. I can hear it too. From my studio, inland, 30 kilometers from the coast. I can hear it now. Through the walls, through the window. It just became audible to me within the last minute. A tone. Very low. Felt as much as heard. I don't have a protocol for this. This is not something I'm supposed to be part of. I'm supposed to be a relay point, not an observer. But I can hear the ridge growing from 30 kilometers inland. Elias Ward, 427. The Continuity Office Advisory, 3016. I'm reading it as it comes through. Active generation event continues. Central Ridge has breached the ocean surface along an estimated length of 2,300 kilometers. Surface height continues to increase. Current maximum elevation above sea level, approximately 310 meters and rising. The rate of generation has exceeded our capacity for real-time measurement. We are transitioning from displacement tracking to percentage of completion estimates. Based on mass generation rate and structural analysis, the event appears to be approximately 60% complete. We do not know what complete means in this context. Category designation is suspended. This event is beyond classification. We do not know what complete means in this context. They're measuring percentage of something they can't define. They know it's 60% done. They don't know 60% of what the rate is. I can't keep up. The bulletins are outdated before I finish reading them. By the time I tell you 310 meters, it's probably 400. By the time I say 400, it's probably 500. The language of reporting requires time, and time is, I can still hear the tone. It's louder. It has been louder continuously, no fluctuation, just a slow, constant increase. I can feel it in the desk now. The papers are trembling at the edges. The surface of my coffee has not been still for 20 minutes. Dana, what do you see now? Dana Cross. It's Elias. It fills the horizon. Left to right. Top to no, there is no top yet. It's still going up. The peaks are God. They must be 700 meters now. The glow is fading at the lower sections, cooling, I think. But the upper reaches are still bright. Orange-white at the very top. There's so much steam. The ocean where it meets the rock is boiling. I can see the steam column. It goes up, and there are no stars behind it anymore, Elias. On the western horizon, where the stars were, there's just a mountain. Where there was empty sky 3 hours ago, there is now a mountain range that doesn't stop, in either direction, as far as I can see. The world has a wall in it that wasn't there at midnight, and it's still growing. Elias Ward. Observatory Bulletin 05. Surface elevation of Central Ridge now exceeds 900 meters at peak summits. Growth rate appears to be decelerating slightly, but remains unprecedented. Harmonic frequency has shifted upward. 0.08 Hz fundamental. Structural coherence of new material is confirmed. This is solid basaltic rock, consistent with mantle-derived oceanic lithosphere, identical in composition to the original ridge material. The new crust is not different from the old. It is simply more of it. It is the same material that was always there. There is just vastly, impossibly more of it. More, just more, of what was always there, as if the ridge simply decided to keep doing what ridges do, what they do over millions of years, but in a single night, as if time, for that one geological feature, compressed. Millions of years of growth in hours. I cannot build a model that holds this. I've been trying since 2017, and every model I build is obsolete before I finish constructing it. The event is outpacing language. It is outpacing thought. I'm still here. I'm still on this channel. I will continue to be here. But I want to be honest, at least not yet. that I am not doing anything except witnessing and relaying. I cannot explain. I cannot predict. I cannot advise. I can only tell you what's happening as it happens, and hope that knowing is better than not knowing. Listener message. Sarah Whitfield, Holloway Basin. I went outside because I couldn't not. I know they said stay at elevation. I know. But I had to see. I'm looking west from my back garden and I can see them. The mountains. New mountains. They're on the horizon like they've always been there. And they haven't. They haven't. I've looked at that horizon every morning for 15 years, and it was flat ocean all the way to the edge of the world. And now there are mountains. And I can see them, and I can hear them. And the ground under my feet is vibrating like a tuning fork. Gark, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. What are we supposed to do when the world gets bigger without asking? I don't know, Sarah. I don't think anyone does. Elias Ward. 4:44. Something has changed. The tone, the infrasound. It's quieter. Not gone, but distinctly, noticeably quieter than it was 20 minutes ago. The papers on my desk have stopped vibrating. The surface of my coffee is still, or nearly still. A faint tremor, but nothing like before. Observatory Bulletin 06. Time-stamped 0439. Rate of vertical generation has decreased by approximately 80% in the last 18 minutes. Peak elevation appears to be stabilizing at approximately 1,200 meters above sea level in the central section. Northern and southern sections continue showing residual growth of 5 to 12 meters per hour, decreasing. The harmonic signature is attenuating. The event may be the event appears to be concluding. We are maintaining continuous observation. We are not using the word complete at this time. Decelerating, possibly stopping. I want very badly to say something reassuring here, to say it's over, to say the worst has passed. I'm not going to say that, because the bulletins from the Southern Ridge stations, the ones I can still reach, tell a different story. Pale River reports growth still active in their section, rate unchanged. Carmouth says their coastal water has stabilized, neither receding nor returning. The recession stopped, but the ocean hasn't come back. It won't come back. Let me think about this. If a mountain range now occupies space that was previously filled with water, the water has been displaced. It's moved outward, toward the coasts. It will eventually find a new equilibrium. Sea levels globally will be different. I don't know by how much. I don't know what that means for harbors, coastlines, low-lying. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me stay with what I can confirm. Dana, what are you seeing? Dana Cross. It's slowing. I can tell because before, I could watch the peaks get taller in real time. Now they look static, or nearly. There's still steam, but it's thinner. The glow at the top has faded to a dull red. The lower slopes, I can see them clearly now against the pre-dawn sky. They look like real mountains, like they've been there forever. They have snow lines, Elias. The tallest peaks, they're high enough that moisture from the steam has frozen on the upper reaches, and they're white. They have snow on them. Brand new mountains with snow. I can't stop looking at them. I know I should feel afraid, but they're beautiful. They're the most terrifying, beautiful thing I've ever seen. Elias Ward. Dana, stay where you are. Continue observing. I want to share something, and then I'm going to pull back from it. When I was very young, maybe 5 or 6, I remember looking at a mountain near where I grew up and asking my mother how it got there. She said it grew there, over millions of years. And I accepted that, because I was a child, and children accept things. Tonight I am watching a mountain grow. I'm not 5 years old anymore, and I cannot simply accept. That was personal. That doesn't belong in this broadcast. Let me return to operational reporting. The Continuity Office has issued Advisory 3017. The active generation event appears to be entering a terminal deceleration phase. Coastal populations are advised to remain at elevation until further notice. Maritime exclusion zone remains in effect. The new landmass extends approximately 2,400 kilometers north-south and is estimated at 40 to 70 kilometers wide at its broadest points. Formal geological survey will be conducted when conditions permit. The Continuity Office acknowledges that public anxiety is significant. A comprehensive situation briefing will be issued at 0600. Remain calm. Remain informed. The situation is being managed. Being managed. A new continent appeared in the ocean tonight, and the situation is being managed. I don't say that with contempt. I say it because what else can they say? What vocabulary exists for managing the arrival of new land? Elias Ward, 4:59, nearly 5 in the morning. The first hint of dawn is showing through the east window of the studio. The sky is getting lighter. The generation has, by all available reports, stopped, or nearly stopped. Residual growth of 1 to 2 meters per hour in the southern section, which may simply be thermal expansion of cooling rock rather than new material. The harmonic tone has faded below my hearing threshold. I can no longer feel it in my chest, though instruments may still be detecting it. I've regained contact with one distant station. Weathering Point came back online 3 minutes ago. Their equipment is functional. They report the same stabilization. Harcastle and Aldrich Point remain silent. It feels, and I want to emphasize this is a feeling, not a fact. It feels like it's over. Like the event has concluded. The world is different now, materially, physically, geographically different from when I started this broadcast 3 hours ago, but the active change appears to have ended. Except, I have one more report. It came through on the wire 2 minutes ago from the Meridian Observatory Network. Not a bulletin, a single-line priority notification. I'm going to read it exactly as it printed. Observatory Seabed Acoustic Monitoring reports. Biological signatures detected within the newly generated ridge structure. Signatures are consistent with large-scale organized movement. Source is internal to the rock. Depth within structure, approximately 200 meters below the new surface. Pattern is non-random. Classification, unknown. Biological signatures, inside the rock. The rock that did not exist 5 hours ago. The rock that was generated from raw mantle material at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees. Rock that could not contain biology. Rock that has never been exposed to the ocean, to the atmosphere, to any ecosystem. And something inside it is moving, in a non-random pattern. I have nothing. I have no framework. I have no protocol. I have no model. Something grew a mountain range in one night, and there is something alive inside it that grew with it, or was already there, waiting. Elias Ward, 5:08. Dawn is coming. The sky to the east is pale blue now, and to the west, the sky is broken by a mountain range that was not there yesterday. The peaks are catching the first light. They are dark rock, sharp, jagged. Steam still rises from them in thin columns. Snow on the highest points glows faintly pink in the approaching sunrise. They look like they have always been there. They have not always been there. I don't have new information to share. The wire is quiet. The Continuity Office will issue its briefing at 6. The observatory is presumably beginning whatever process one begins when a new geological feature, the size of a nation, appears overnight. The world will wake up this morning, and the horizon will be wrong. And someone will need to explain to them what happened while they slept. I don't know what that explanation will be. I don't know what explanation is possible. I know what happened. I don't know why. And now I know there is something inside it. Dana, are you still there? Dana Cross. I'm here. Elias, the sun is going to come up behind me, and it's going to light up those mountains, and the world is going to see them, and this is real. This is the world now. This is what's here now. I'm going to have to look at those mountains every day for the rest of my life, and know that they appeared in one night, and that something inside them is moving, and that we don't know what, and we may never know what, and people are going to name them. Elias, we're going to name them. They'll go on maps. They'll become normal, and they shouldn't be normal. They should never be normal. Elias Ward, no, they shouldn't. I'm going to reduce the channel to carrier signal for the next 40 minutes. I will reopen the voice channel at 0550 to prepare for the 6 o'clock briefing. For now, I'm here. The signal is here, but I've said what I can say. For those of you who have been listening since the beginning, since 2:17, when a seismic digest failed to arrive, and I thought it was a routing delay, thank you for being here. Thank you for staying on the channel. I don't know if what I've done tonight constitutes journalism or testimony, or simply the refusal to stop talking while the world rearranges itself. But you were here. You heard it happen. The sun will be up in 40 minutes. It will light the new mountains. They will cast shadows that did not exist yesterday. The shadows will fall on water that has not found its new level yet. And somewhere inside 1,200 meters of rock that appeared between midnight and dawn, something is moving. In a pattern. On purpose. This is Elias Ward. You're listening to the residual relay. The signal continues. Keep your windows open this morning. Watch which direction the birds fly.